Uh, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. What's the deal, YouTube? This is your boy Next Gen 720, and we're back with the bi-weekly, not even biracial, bi-weekly Expand Your Mind podcast. With me, I got my boy Neethus here with me today. Neethus, my man Dragon Moore, post up with the close-up be here shortly. And we talk about everything, from race, religion, UFO creatures, and what is it, social injustice. A little, we're going to cover just about, besides gaming, everything except besides gaming, a little politics. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. And so, like I said, as you guys are joining, hit the like button.
I just realized something too, though.
What's up?
The background is
Yeah, I see.
yeah.
We're working progress. We get that together. Now next week, this is not
We
Beachfire, but next week you'll see something else in the background. You know what I mean?
I mean, you can add it really quickly while we're here, but this is all new, guys. We are just starting to use the Discords for our live shows, and it's something that we want to incorporate so that you guys can join us while we're live and chat with us about this in real time.
Yeah, you know what I mean. My man says the SJW pod. Oh Jesus. Uh, what's up, Zachary? Like I said, shout out to everybody in the chat. Like I said, as you guys come in, if you'd be so kind to hit the like button, we're gonna have a good time tonight.
Thank you for waiting.
What was it? Was it last week? Last week's show, week before last show,
Yeah.
went kind of long. We was in there for about 2 hours. I mean, it got, it was a great, show. You know what I mean? I see
People were going in because we were getting people angry.
Yeah, he said Z, the flat Earth, bro. Oh man, don't start with that flat Earth stuff, man. Zelda Master, like I said, as we're filling up, you guys would be so kind to, like I said, hit the like button. And yeah, we said we stepping our production game up here. Like I said, today we will be doing. You put the link to the Discord in here. Yeah, you guys.
Yeah, I did.
If you want to ask a question or state something during the show, you guys have to sign up for the Discord, and we're gonna take it from there. Like I said, as the room is filling up, you guys would be so kind to share this on Twitter. They got your boy banned on Twitter for whatever reason. I know why. It was for a tweet that I put out there 4 years ago. Literally, somebody was attacking me, and I just responded. You know what I mean? Being the immature grown man that I am, and I guess Twitter said that tweet I put out 4 years ago wasn't socially acceptable. Go figure, right? I'm working. Jesus knows my heart, and I'm a work in progress. You know what I mean? But like I said, as the room is filling up, you guys have been. First, I want to say this. Shout out to you guys for really supporting this show. Like I said, we used to do it before on Mixer. Maybe we might start streaming it to Mixer, Twitter, Twitch to expand the audience. But you guys, next when you're gonna bring back the UFO show, like when you do those things. Like I said, I got a steady crew. I didn't even know Blue was into this type of stuff. You know what I mean? So. Go figure, you know what I mean? She's a woman that wears many hats, right?
Yeah.
What you got going on with yourself, Blue? When can they expect a new video from you?
So as you all know, I do stream. That's been kind of what I've been doing a lot of lately. I'm trying to figure out my schedule with the podcast involved and making sure that I have equal time for both. So if you're interested in seeing more of me, definitely come by the streams. That's something that happens a lot more often than me posting videos. Although I do try to post something every week, and I do have something coming maybe this Sunday. So I'll just leave that as that, and you take it how you will. We'll see.
Okay. Neethus, you did Neethus?
Yeah, what's going on, guys?
My man Neethus, fresh back from the Amazon rain. What the hell you was at, Neethus? Amazon rain? What the hell you was at?
At Forgor, I'd say I was in the Himalayas, meditating, getting ready. But no, I'm back here now, so let's go.
Yeah, you're back. All right, like I said. And also, too, like I said, my man Neethus, he used to be out there with us when we used to do the shows. Me and Neethus post up, and Beyond Wisdom, we used to do the, whatever the hell we used to call it, on Mixer. We used to stream there. We used to do it Wednesdays nights, but like I said, he's back with. I got a new guy with, not new. He's been around for a minute. He used to be in the chat. My man, XBL Bay, aka Dragon Moore. He's into this. Actually, he's into this type of stuff too. He's been trying to get on one of these religious debates type of things. You know what I mean? But he's here in the Discord. I gave him some videos that we're going to talk about today. He's just brushing up with that stuff there, and he's gonna join the conversation in a minute. Post up should be here in a minute. Post up was always on CPT Black Man's time, but he should be in a minute also. But since the last time we intervened, and I guess we can, as the room is still filling up, we can start off a little light. Neil deGrasse, he's been making his rounds. Whenever what I've noticed now, you know what I mean? Every time something that comes out that can't really be explained, he's like the front man to deflect things. Now, again, we kind of mentioned a little bit that video from someone named Tom DeLonge, the lead singer from Blink-182. And like I said, we really didn't talk about this too much last week. But anyway, it's a little filler. And people called him a crack, but some people said he was crackpot. He was losing it. He said he was abducted by a UFO in Nevada in the desert. But anyway, he aligned himself with some very powerful people, from influential people within the NSA and Boeing and all these top companies and stuff. And they founded something called the Stars Academy. And what he's been saying for the last 3 years, that I've seen, but at least the last 3 years, that disclosure was going to come through him, but the people, not just the American people have to be spoon-fed. They can't just because they can't just lay it all on the table because the people would know how to react. He likened it to the people would go like the world is coming to an end. I don't know. I guess that's just the era in man why we just think that life only exists here, or like that shit is crazy. But anyway, he released it. Well, Bruce released a video. It was one of our fighter jets. Of course, you all didn't see the footage by now. If you haven't, it was in Sacramento. They got called. I think it was AR-115, whatever the name of the jets was. But it said it was wasn't just one ship, but it was like a fleet of them over the ocean, excess of 100 feet long, whatever the case may be. Went from 0 to 80,000 miles an hour on the blink of an eye. And you had no deGrasse to some, doesn't actually mean that it's an extraterrestrial. Like, this guy here, like, I don't know what the hell. Like, he's always, like, I don't know, man. I can understand you being objective, But when you got I forget the guys that was hitting the program, and came out and said that, we don't have the technology. This thing here is not from our planet. X, Y, and Z. He's still going to go out there and say, well, you don't know what it could be. It can be, I don't know what the hell's with Neil deGrasse. I like him. Don't get me wrong. Plus, I like his Christmas tweets when he put out there and he, making fun of the Christians and, everything else. I think that's kind of funny. But I don't know why he just, he feels the need to I don't know, how you say, deflect, damage control. You know what I mean? I don't know. What do you think about that, Neithus? Have you seen him on the late night shows?
Yeah. I actually didn't end up seeing the interview, but I did hear he was actually almost laughing off the possibility that it may be aliens. And what I find odd is this is a man who always talks about how we're destroying the earth. We need to find other sources for transportation that aren't so harmful. Mm-hmm. Well, he just literally saw a vehicle that was defying our laws of physics and seemed to be moving with an engine that we don't use, perhaps not even using green light gases. Yeah. So I find it very interesting that he won't even really look at it and, be curious and maybe researching something like that. In fact, I think we even have materials from crash UFOs that might be similar to the one we saw on the tape. Yeah. And, sorry to go ahead, but, it has alloys in it. So, meaning it's been made by intelligent creatures, but it's not of an Earth origin. So I find it very interesting that he laughs off UFOs as an aliens. But I don't know. What do you think, Blue?
I think that people have a point when they try and say that, there's a lot of people. There are people that are going with this narrative because they want to make money and things like that. So, I'm not exactly sure about the entire story. I haven't really looked up much about this, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of this stuff is kind of hard. It's already something that most people don't believe, But
why is that though, Blue? Why do you think
I think it's hard for people to try and accept anything that's different.
Absolutely.
Because if you think about that, right, with every situation, with everything that happens, with everything that changes in society, in the world, it's always super hard for people to accept differences. And I think that that's something that we have to work on so that we can like move on, you know, like for example, how people don't want to believe that, you know, we're harming the earth and like global warming is a thing. There's people that really just don't want to believe it,
including our
and
president, which is crazy.
exactly. And it's like, how can you, there is evidence, there are people that are studying this that are telling you, hey, this is a problem, and you choosing to ignore it is basically just like, I don't know, I find that childish. I find that you know, detrimental, right? Because if you don't learn to adapt as a species, if you don't learn to adapt, what happens? You become extinct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
okay.
yeah, it's almost on the verge of ignorance if you really don't see it in this way. And you know, next gen, you have a very famous quote in saying, "There's more stars in the galaxy than you will see grains of grains of sand on a beach."
There are grains of sand.
Like, just think of that for a moment. Like, you know, life, you know, while it might be rare, it's definitely out there. So to be ignorant and say we're the only ones, I believe it's a huge mistake. But that's my opinion on that matter.
Yeah, I don't. Well, you know, I just look at it like this. I said, man, fear what they don't understand, hate what they can't conquer. Like, you know, you touched on something. I see posters coming now.
There's people in the chat that are saying global warming is fake. Global warming don't really care. That's interesting.
Wait, here's the thing, right? And what I'm telling you, which is crazy, right? Even when you had Donald J. Trump, like when he's put out, we're talking about global warming. This is the coldest it's ever been, and that's why you get these extreme colds and extreme, Category 5, what do you call it, hurricanes back to back.
There's glaciers that are melting.
Yeah, but again, that has nothing to do with the weather. That's
starving.
Yeah, that's I don't know. It's crazy as hell. That's the commander in chief, the most powerful man in the world, saying things like that. And again, and we're not gonna get into this whole religion thing. But that's what I'm talking about, where they don't like to you can't argue about 2 and 2 like with science. Like you can't argue. You know what I mean? Like when you have concrete evidence and proof. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe it's the almighty dollar.
Look, there's going to be people that take advantage of every situation, right? We are aware of this. Anybody's going to try and make $1 off of anything. But just because you've seen evidence of that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not true, right? Like, let's think about the fact that when people get sick, you know how much money is made off of like the drugs,
yes.
How much money is made in the pharmaceutical business, yes. Right? It's a business. They are not going to sit by and be like, hey, we should help these people for the good of the people. No, I mean, there's a lot of assholes in the world. So yeah, they're going to make money off of these things, but it doesn't change the fact that people have these diseases, right? Like the things that they give us, shots for, or I'm not saying that correctly, there's a better word for it.
I'm talking about they vaccinate us for.
Vaccinations that they have created are actually being used for things that we, used to have back in the day. For example, like polio or things like that, right?
Like, actually, for the record, Blue, that was the last thing that we cured was fucking polio, literally. Last thing we cured.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that it was a thing and there was a cure, but like they're making money off of that. It's not free.
I take it one step further, boys. Check it out, right?
Go for it.
There's no money in the cure. You then had countless scientists come out and they had they were treating cancer. You know what I mean? The Garson theory and and big company, being pharma and Purdue. There's no money in the cure. There's only to make you so and so live longer with this whatever symptoms or whatever. To maintain and control the symptoms. There's no money in the cure. You know what I mean? Imagine if you had something. I'll give you an example, right? You guys, what I went through just for the last 2 years, arthrosarcoma. And I'm gonna tell you about maybe we're talking about the drug business, right? Cancer, guys, on the truth, it's the only business like this in the world, right? Which has something like the drugs have something like a 94% failure rate, literally. It would be against the law for you to buy a car or something that had a 94% failure rate, right? And this is the only business, again, that your doctor, say Dr. Jacoby, will pay $3,000. Check it out. Pay $3,000 to buy the medicines from Purdue, right? Pharma. Pay $3,000 and turn around and bill you $12,000. Your insurance may pay $8,000 of it, so you're left with the balance of $4,000. You know what I mean? So again, your doctor has an incentive to give you, these drugs, which again, like I said, they don't get me wrong, they do kill the bad stuff, but it also kills all the good stuff that you need. You know what I mean?
That's what they do to cancer patients.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So like I said, I'm telling you with this, but I know about how you say by firsthand knowledge. Like this is the only business like that your doctor would spend $3,000 and buy it from Purdue Pharma. I'm sorry, and then they turn around and bill your insurance $12,000. So you done made a $9,000 get up. You know what I mean? Your insurance may pay $8,000 if you're lucky. You know what I mean? And you're left with the with the balance. You know what I mean? Like this great. Like I said, there's no merit. Like, look. Prime example. You just had, I forget the woman's name. A black woman in Georgia. She went to Harvard, and she was curing cancerous tumors in rats. She was using some type of laser, whatever she was doing, right? But again, and she was trying to get approved by the FDA, and wouldn't no big company pick her up because they couldn't make money off it. You know what I mean? Like this is real shit here. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, even like I said, we're gonna take this thing one step further. You know what I mean? Even you look at like HIV, right? Real talk. No, my mother passed away from AIDS. It is what it is, right? And I remember this, right? Clear as day. He said, my ass may be dumb, but I ain't no dumbass. When I was in the 12th grade, and my grandmother was a school teacher. I'm kind of old school. And I remember my grandmother talking to the doctor, and she was like, what you say to the doctor? Hey, can you guys give her like a blood transfusion? My grandmother kind of old. Back then she was still kind of old, you know what I mean? So she was like, doctor was like, no. I said, Grandma. And I remember the doctor face getting fucking beat shot red. I said, Grandma, they invented, not saying him, like, you know what I mean? They invented AIDS, HIV. Because if I don't have AIDS and you don't have AIDS, ain't no way in hell our body can make AIDS. Like, you know what I mean? Literally. And they just sold that shit off in the public. You know what I mean? People have been having unprotected sex and, they try to blame it on, say you have a high, risk life behavior. You lived a high risky life. You know what I mean? Whether you're sharing needles, unprotected sex, you know what I mean? First they blamed it on the influx of Haitian immigrants that came over like in the 80s. Then they said it was, for the homosexuals. They were passing it around and for sharing needles. But again, people have been homosexual since the turn of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just keeping it real.
That was ridiculous propaganda.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but that but back then, things are a little bit more lenient now as far as the gay community. Like shit, there was some shit. I believe it was Texas. If you were homosexual, they cops expect you of having anal sex with your boyfriend. You can be also in jail. Like you get a bunch of old laws like that in some states here in America still. But again, like I said, when I said it, the doctor face got beat shot red. Walked outside. He said, "What? You know what? You might be onto something." And it is what it is. There's no way that your body can, produce that. Like it is what it is. You know what I mean? But
let me jump in this. Let me interject.
Yeah, for sure.
Even though I apologize for my
school.
Don't trust the medical system, man. Even the vaccination, man. I wouldn't. If I was to have another child, which I'm not, I wouldn't allow my children, or whatever, my son or daughter, to go through them vaccinations. The human body has been built to withstand. It's been built and prepared for everything. Even in regards to the immune system. Now, every flu season they come out with these vaccinations where they're giving you the synthetic version of that flu symptom. And they doing that is because they know the immune system, once it gets something, it can build up a defense towards whatever's trying to attack you from a physical standpoint. Now, most people don't know. Most people, when they get sick, the first thing they do is they run to get medicine. And that's something that you should. When I get sick, the first thing I do is lay down and get some rest. Because I give my body time to build up a defense against whatever's trying to attack me. Now, it may take longer for me to get well than it do a person that's going to take that medicine. But over a period of time, I get well, I get better. The good thing on my part is that I'm allowing the body to build up a defense against it. So if I get it the next time, it won't impact me as much. and I won't have it as longer. The bad thing about a person running to get the medicine is that you're making your body reliant on the medicine instead of your immune system. So you're weakening your immune system and making your body reliant on the medicine that it takes. So when you do get sick, the first thing you do, you run to get that medicine. And then a person that have a cough, right? And they'll go get instead of going to get a cough syrup, they'll go get a multi-symptom syrup that's for multiple things. That's another bad thing, because now you're putting things in your body for a symptom that you don't have, which can cause you to get even more sicker. The whole medical system is, like Z said, it's about money. If you are well and fine, then there's nothing we need it for. But if you are sick and we can maintain and control how sick you are, then we can always make a profit. Can't no virus on this planet survive in an alkaline system. Mm-hmm. No cancer, AIDS, none of that, which is all that stuff is pretty much man-made. If you go back to the black woman, they had her body preserved for over 50 years.
For sure.
Henrietta.
Yeah.
And they was breaking down.
No, that's Sanjay Barton.
Yeah. They was breaking down her cells and things like that. A lot of this stuff is genocide of a certain cultures. A lot of this stuff is population control, and whether you believe it or not, it's real if you look between the underlying tone.
I mean, well, I will say this.
So
and
hold on.
Yeah.
I got a question for Post Up.
Okay.
Because I listened at you, good brother, and you seem like you're kind of, you're kind of there. I got a question for you though. It's a science question. Now, the human body immune system only builds defense against organic organisms. But when you have things like AIDS that are considered the world's first nanites, okay, we learned about that in biology class. How does the body build defense against something that man has created? If it's synthetic, it's not natural. So how can something organic build a defense against something that's not natural?
You're not understanding, brother. It's natural. It's all organic. It's just tricking the body. That's all. Even with cancer. Cancer cells mimic the same cells as white blood cells. Yeah. So when they enter the body think it's a white blood cell. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I gotta stop you. Hold on, Post Up. I gotta stop you, bro. Okay,
educate me, bro.
But cancer. Hold on a second about cancer. Hold on about cancer. Cancer is a radical cell. Nobody puts cancer into the body. It's a cell that when something foreign is introduced, it'll have a radical reaction to it. It then begins to feed on whatever that is. And then when that supply is gone, it starts to feed on the white blood cells in the system. I guess needless to say, cancer is already in your body.
I never
it just
said
takes something from the... Hold on, because it sounds like you use the phrase "put in the body," so that's why I wanted to interject and stop you there, because number one, they found this out. Dr. Sebi found this out in in 58. He found a cure for cancer.
Yes.
Oh yeah. He found the cure for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So and a lot of this stuff is, you're right, it's in a alkalinical system. If you drink alkaline water and all that stuff, that also keeps mucus down. That also keeps inflammation. It does all those things. But I'm just saying, cancer, mucus is honestly
it's the basis for all viruses.
Exactly. Okay, so that's why I said you sound like you there. I just wanted to confirm something. But go ahead, my bad, dog.
Hey, brother, I have no problem. Hey, that's what we here for, brother.
Each one,
and I thank you for. Yeah, that's what it's about. I was probably incorrect in how I explained it. I know it's already in the body. I was just saying that cells are pretty much tricked. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's what I was aiming towards. But you're definitely correct. I'm definitely going to take a look at that information you just gave too, brother, and extend my knowledge a little bit further.
All right. Well, okay. Well, as I said, as you guys should come in, I'm banned on Twitter. I am banned on Facebook, so I can't share the video to my social media accounts. As you guys come in, like I said, if you'd be so kind to hit the like button or share it on your respectively Facebooks or Twitter. But anyway, today's show, that was just a tease, a little warm up, and you guys were throwing in and waiting for posts to get here. We have a few topics, and I sent more in Nethus to send you guys. Well, I'm sorry, Blue sent you guys the links. What do you want to talk about first, Blue? We got a few. We got the what's the organism? Was it 46B?
All right, I want to talk about. We saw this video, for reference, about a person that was essentially raped by a reptile or reptilian creature in the woods.
Yeah.
Right? That's basically the basis of the story. The idea was, in the video, they explained that the woman could not recall this event directly, but that that she through hypnosis was able to recall, and it took therapy and things like that in order for her to get over. However, it's a lot. It's a lot, right? It's for one, the fact that she described these reptilians as actual, human-like, right? Where they had these uniforms on and they seem to be communicating but not speaking the language that we speak. and they seem to have something in mind, like a purpose, and they seem to also have technology that we don't have. Just like all these different things, and it was like a lot to take in, because when you first hear it, you think like, all right, this is made up, like this is some creepypasta kind of thing, like this is like not real. But sometimes these things freak you out enough that you start to think like, maybe it is true, maybe I'm not going to those freaking woods anytime soon.
Well, did you watch the end of the video, Blue?
Oh, it's true.
Did I watch the end of the video where they said...
No, look at the end of the video. You see...
No, they showed pictures and things, and like...
No, I'm talking about the actual video. At the end of the video, there's a video...
of someone... Of someone hiking. Catching...
Hiking in the woods. And then you see the thing materialize, like he saw me duck down.
Yeah, I saw that. But like, first of all, I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. Because like that, it was creepy as hell. Second of all,
oh my God,
how do we know it's not fake? Right? Because that ending part kind of made me like, Photoshop is kind of a thing.
It was fake. It was confirmed that it was a fake video. But now, because that was a fake video, I saw the video. Okay, and I got to tell you, the video was based on, real true story, man. It's just that it wasn't a modern story. It's kind of creepy for those who don't really dive into history, but aliens have been coming back and forth to this planet, man, for eons, bro. Like this has been going on for a very long time. And you can see it in ancient cultures where they talk about, okay, look, for instance, Babylonian, like, Zaire. You're real big on Sumer.
Yes.
Right? I am too, brother. I am right there with you. Like my whole, I wrote a thesis in college about Sumeria.
Yes.
So, in Babylon, so I'm right there with you. If you look at their gods, Enki and all those guys, they look like birds, right?
Yes.
But what most people don't know is that the bird in modern times used to be a reptile. Those feathers used to be scales. And to a certain degree, in Japanese, the word Nagato also means feathered serpent.
Feathered serpent, yeah.
Right? And that's during medieval times, you had certain Moorish clans. You also had certain, during feudal Japan, where you had the Moors go into Asia. They went representing the feathered serpent or the Nagato. Okay, so all of that stuff is really that stuff comes out of like ancient Egypt and ancient Sumer, where they used to worship these feathered serpents, so to speak. And you know, a lot of times, a lot of people don't realize that the whole thing with the technology and the advances, that stuff is true. Hitler, people don't even know that the swastika was actually one of the ancient symbols. That if you go to Babylon, if you see Enki, he actually has the swastika on his chest.
Facts.
He has the swastika on his chest. So now the question is, how the hell did Hitler find out about the swastika? Well, it was introduced to him by a lady who was the niece of the Tsar of Russia. Her name is Elena Blavatsky. Very wealthy lady. She was into the occult. She knew she owned land in India. She owned land in Africa. She owned land all over. You know what I'm saying? And she helped found what was known at that time, the Theosophy, or the Society of Star Children. Okay, that later on became Indigo Children. Okay, so like people who say that the aliens aren't real, I'm like, man, I hate to tell you.
Well, well, here's the thing though. You look at it like this, right? Even what you say, alien, or you say extraterrestrial, right? And not to get the whole religious thing, but even if you want to say that, or extraterrestrial, if you're gonna believe in the whole God thing, or he will be considered an extraterrestrial for demon, from out of this plane, this realm. You know what I mean? But even like I said with the Sumerians, in the story of Adam and Eve, the serpent, you know what I mean? The snake being able to walk, and talk. You know what I mean? Now again, I'm not saying it's true. I mean, I believe, but I guess even like the root word of belief is to be unsure. But every culture, whether it's Japan, the flying serpent, the Aztec, they all talk about their interactions with beings from other planets. Now, I won't even consider, like you say, maybe even the reptilians or the Dracos or whatever. They were supposed to be indigenous to this planet. They were here first. You know what I mean? They were here first. Now, how true? I don't know. You know what I mean? Again, if you never, I mean, I can see some of you guys bugging out in the chat. As like they got talking about sleeping with snakes and serpents and shit. But it's the truth. You know what I mean? Like, even look. What's the symbol for DNA? Check it out. The symbol for DNA. On the side of, on the medical symbol, on the side of a hospital van or something, you see two intertwined snakes, right? Real shit. And all that there comes from Sumer. Sumerians, I mean, DNA and all that stuff, interwoven snake. But I don't know. You know what I mean?
I look at it like this. I'm gonna post a link. I don't know how good you all attention span is in the chat, but I'm gonna post a link. Because David Icke,
right here with the black man, my man, the black,
Credo Matwa, he was
I got the link right here.
a Zulu shaman,
right
shaman from Africa. So what it was is that in his village,
that's the link.
The children have to go through this little test, and whoever won, then the elder will pass all the information onto that child. I'm talking about information down from the beginning.
Oh, you mean David Icke?
Yeah, David Icke. Yeah, my bad. I said Icky. But the child, whoever won the test, will get the information. I'm talking about information that was passed down from the beginning, from generation to generation to generation. He will be the sole bearer of that information. And this guy, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but it's Credo. His last name is Mutw.
The African man.
The African man.
Yeah, I just put the video up.
He tells you about the reptilian race. I'm talking about from the beginning. I'm talking about from the beginning. I haven't watched the video in a while, but I think he used the same term that Bro just used, the Shatori. That's how the Africans look at him. But he explains how they intertwine the human culture, how we went from speaking telepathically to using words with our mouth and things like that, and that human language is the lowest form of communication. all types of things, how they interacted with us sexually and started breeding with us and things like that. But the guy, this video, the CIA been trying to kill this. I don't know if he's still alive, but when he did this video, which you say was posted in 2010. No, I'm not. I'm talking about David Icke. I'm talking about the guy too.
Credo.
Yeah. The CIA and the government was trying to kill this man for years. He had a target on his back for the information that he was putting out about the reptilian race. So if y'all get a chance, man, go watch the link that Z dropped if you want to get a better understanding and get the story from the beginning, from how it all started.
Yeah. Needles, you there, baby?
Yeah, I'm here.
Weigh in on this, man.
All the information.
Weigh in. What do you think about the reptilian? Is it a go? Are they here? Are they eating our babies? Talk to me, man. What's going on with these jokers, man? Can't they be trusted? Like, what do you think?
Well, I'm not as well versed with the reptilian stuff as all of you are, but I will say there are some spooky stuff out there. There's too many stories. There's too many closely matching stories. In fact, that all these descriptions seem to match up to the same thing. And also, I find it very interesting that you talk about that they interbreeded and so on, because they always said that it's a quote in the Bible that from above, I don't know the Bible well, but you know what I mean, where they breeded with man or whatever.
Oh, talking about what for
sons of God breeded with the daughters of men.
Yeah, sons of
exactly.
God found the daughters of men fair, took them.
Yeah. So I find that very interesting, and you never know what's really out there. I mean,
there's so much. There's so much of this world that we haven't explored, right? Like there's a lot. The oceans, the forests, like the deep forest. Unless we cut like the trees down and decide that we need more space, like we usually aren't up in there.
Yo, they calling me crazy. They say I'm crazy. Look, there's no such. Let me break this down to you before we move forward in chat. Because that's why we named the show "Expand Your Mind," because we want you to keep your mind open to everything that you've been cultured in to believe is impossible or cannot exist. There is no such thing as crazy. Okay, and what I mean by that is if I can see something that you can't, does that make me crazy for being able to see it, or does it make you crazy for being able to not see it? Okay.
Based on the actual, hold on, Nethos. Based on what crazy actually means, yes, it does.
No,
crazy does not mean what we refer to it as today. But yes,
in the way they was using, in the way they using it, you know what I'm saying?
In the way they're using it, no. But in the actual term, crazy, yes.
It makes me crazy.
It does. The whole purpose of crazy means foresightful. That is the original meaning of the word crazy.
I'm back. I'm sorry. Hello?
So that's what I'm saying. When we use words today, we use them as slang. We're not even using them really properly in like proper English. That's why you'll never hear any other English speaking country use the word crazy when referring to somebody who is wacko or don't know what they're talking about. They always use a different term. They always use the term going mad.
Yeah, mentally deranged or
exactly.
Yeah, that's why I said that, because I know that's how they was using the term.
Yeah, but I mean, possibly even going off what you said, people are always freaked out by stuff you say, but different from what they believe. But even the stuff you might believe is actually kind of insane when you think about it. I mean, we always talk about the pyramids, right, Next Gen?
Yes.
And how people generally believe slaves built them. And even when you do all the map and add it all up, it doesn't make any sense how they were able to cut those stones perfectly, place them down in a well-timed manner, and have the structure stand for all these years. But at the end of the day, you would call me crazy for believing in other theories about the pyramids.
You know what? There's not even so much that, if you're going to say whatever, like in school, we were taught, like we kind of mentioned this week before last, in school, you were taught that the Egyptians built the pyramids, right? And not to even go back to with the Bible or anything like that, but even like when you take the Tanakh, the Torah, aka the Old Testament, they didn't do nothing but remix the Sumerian Tales of Creation. Sumerian Tales of Creation, which predates those books by how many thousands of years, right? I mean, but my only issue with that again is that
it's actually 25,000 years to be exact.
Well, whatever, give or take a month or two, right? But my issue, like, I wouldn't even have an issue with that. Is that they're telling it as it's their story. Again, like the Sumerians wrote about the pyramids. Now, again, we were taught in school more or less that that the Egyptians built. It wasn't until I went to school, college, that I even heard anything about the Sumerians more or less, or learned more about them. It was crazy. Which was crazy. The things that we have right now in society, the way that we break down time, from 12 hours in a day, to minutes and seconds, all that comes from them. You know what I mean? And it was credited to them. Now, whether they were the oldest or the first, I don't know, but they're credited as being the first civilization. The way that we have laws, the way that how you say when you go to something, get a notary public, have things notarized. You know what I mean? All they had their signature stamp. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm gonna let you borrow $5,000. They take their family, seal and roll it on some clay. That was their stamp. That was their signature. You know what I mean? All that shit comes from them.
Navies, right?
Navies, armies, all that stuff comes from them. But again, them themselves, like I said, it's not so much about we can say about the pyramids are sitting on one true north, and again, you can really map that it's coming from above. But what they don't really talk about, right, is that we talking about long to the ladder, that the Great Giza, lines up to those. Now, people might not say it's a face on Mars or whatever, Cydonia. That shit line up point for point. They don't talk about that. That's when shit get a little spooky. You know what I mean? If you're gonna say fine, fuck it, it is. But if you're not gonna say that's a face on Mars, I don't even care. But them shits line up point for point. You know what I mean? That's something again that they don't really talk about. You know what I mean? Like that's getting a little spooky. Like I said, and again, we talking about we don't have the equipment today. You got stones at the bottom of the pyramid that weigh excess of 80 tons and shit like that. You know what I mean? We don't have like today the technology to move something that, like I said, that's 80 tons. You know what I mean? Which is wild. You know what I mean? But what do you think? Like, what are your theories? Like, I mean, what's
what I found spooky about with everything you said that Sumer, they developed all these things, navies, armies. They talk about pyramids and so on. What I always found spooky about that was in my textbooks when I took history in high school was people just said Sumer developed writing and that's about it. Like they're literally 1 to 2 pages in a history book. I always find that a little odd. Also, with the pyramids, people act like pyramids are only in Egypt. Pyramids are everywhere in the world. You can find them in South America. But some people in Antarctica, they're everywhere, and there's hundreds. It's not like a few. There's so many, even in just Egypt alone.
They here in America too.
Yeah.
The
pyramids. I'm sorry. You're talking about the pyramids.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then people always say they line up with a certain thing, and it's all really spooky to me. How it all comes together. I mean, even with the pyramids, I believe you showed me a video where if you do a lot of math and you come up with a certain equation, you can actually target, world disasters with how the pyramids are. Even that, that defies logic to me. Like, that's something else.
Hey, Nethos, you're going a little bit too far, bro. That's top secret.
All right.
You know what? At the end of the day, right, just taking about, I will say this, right, at the end of the day, right, and but we can, agree that as man get older, we're supposed to get wiser, get smarter. You know what I mean? And I promise to leave religious folks alone today. I'm not gonna take shots at anybody. But again, my issue with some of that stuff that even with that, right? To say that, how should I say this? Well, you know what? You look at Giza, the lines over there in Giza, right? There's strips, and what's that? Yeah, in Peru, you have those long shapes of spiders and birds, all that stuff within Peru, right? But it can only be seen.
Oh, the codex. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about, Z.
The lines, but you can only see it from coming
the
plane. But you know what they like when you watch some of these shows on TV. These motherfuckers, excuse my French, shaved off a whole size of a mountain. Ain't the fact that they just made this long, 45 mile long spider, that this was a mountain. You understand what I'm saying? With today's technology, we would have a tough time. We talking about these people with copper and stone tools shaved off. I ain't talking about a cliff. I'm talking about mountains. You know what I mean? Take the whole, lazily sharp. You know what I mean? Like, come on. And again, I go back and I say this again. every culture on this planet, whether it's, those people, the Aborigines over there in Australia, to the Dogo tribe in South, in Africa, not South Africa.
The Dogon tribe, yeah.
You know what I mean? Saying that their teachers came from Sirius, you know what I mean? Every culture on this planet, talking about their interactions with beings from other, you know what I mean? Being, but why is it? Again, I don't understand why is that so spooky now to the day. Now listen, you just had. Now this is the first time ever the Pentagon released. They tried to get the jump on my man from Blink-182. You know what I mean? That was the actual footage from them. Like, everybody can't be lying. You know what I mean? Like, everybody can't be lying. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, but I don't know.
Look, man, let me tell you something. If you even with the Dogon tribe, they had mass knowledge of space, of planets, Sirius B, Orion's belt. They have mass knowledges of different solar systems, the size of planets, what they're made of, and things like this. And these is a tribe over in Africa. I think East Africa, if I'm not East or West, but I think it's East Africa. That has this knowledge that said that knowledge was brought to them by the people from Sirius B. If you think that we're here alone on this planet, then you're.
Hey, you know what's crazy? Hey, Post, not to cut you off. I said this last week, right? And I actually had the papers, but it was something called the Brookings Report, right? And I had, I'm a fucking scatterbrain. I had found the actual report, but anyway, before we actually went to the moon, the Brookings Report, they took all the top think hats from across, America, Harvard, Yale, and basically said before we got to the moon, more or less, if you find evidence of older civilization, do not tell the people, the American people of the world, because literally, this is what they said. You can Google, you look for yourself. That the religious structure on our planet will fall apart. You know what I mean? You got people that start answering questions like this. Well, if Jesus Christ died for my sins, well, did he die for their sins also? And then, and like I said, when I said that, and again, some people took it as me being disrespectful, and I'm not here to disrespect anyone what you believe in. What it is, you know what I mean? But I'll be, like I said, I'm more interested in having a conversation with some of you guys. I want to know, how do you get from there to there to believe what you believe? You know what I mean? If you really think that someone got swallowed by a fish and lived in his stomach for 3 days and went on to preach about it, you know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? But like I said, or how you say that everything in this book, or even one better, right? That no man, woman, or child was born with any knowledge of any religion. It's the fact that had to be taught to you by someone that was taught to you, but someone that was beat into him. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like I said, man got his hand all through those books. Like, that's not, even if we go with the story, you say that God wrote the 10 Commandments, but he needed a man to pen the Bible. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I look at things like that. Or if you take this, I look at how you say, break things down in layman's term. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You ain't gotta confuse with a bunch of fancy words. Like, even if you take some of the stories in the Bible, it was the King Harriet. What's my man name? That and God told Joseph to run, and because King Herod killed every child from the age of 2 years old and down, killed every child. I'm looking at this, reading the story, like, damn, hey, God, this your son. Why not kill King Harriet? You know what I mean? Like, I look at stuff like that. Like, I mean, this doesn't make any sense to me. You know what I mean? So, go back to this, like I said, whatever he was saying, that religion is a big business. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say this again and again. It's a business. I'm not even talking about the super churches. I'm talking about the churches on the corner, the little jokers in the hood next to the liquor store. Collectively, every Sunday they collect about $24 million, which is reported, right? We're talking about at least $100 million a month, about at least about $1 billion a year. Christianity alone makes enough money in 1 month to eradicate world hunger. Like, this is not my opinion. This is fact. And again, so, like I said, it's faith-based or belief. Like I said, the root word of belief is like, belief is to be unsure. So again, I say that to say this, I should say that Jesus game is a strong game, man. You know what I mean? it is, man. You know what I mean? But I'll be like, I want to know, like, how do you get, or even just say that, fine. Even if there are extraterrestrials, just say, I'm gonna be really spooky. Just say what the Sumerians wrote was true. Just say that we were genetically modified, right? No, that may sound kind of crazy to some of you guys, look, but I believe, I'm not mistaken, I believe it's chromosome 3 and 4, either 2 and 3 that are fused together. You know what I mean? You don't really find things that kind of like fuse together, less things that are quote unquote genetically modified. You know what I mean? They even say, you know, like that Darwinism thing that we evolved from apes. Monkeys have 48 chromosomes. We have 46. We want to lose 2 whole chromosomes and become better. Like that doesn't. That's a lot of DNA to lose. You know what I mean? Like this again. This is me. I'm sorry. Yeah, go.
Oh, wait, sorry.
No.
And speaking on that whole thing, we always said we have a common ancestor, and what's kind of weird about that ancestor is we don't even share a fingernail with that ancestor. They always say that we're directly related to. I mean, can anybody explain that?
No, you know what?
Yes, the hold on. I can explain that.
Let me it.
So in what most people don't understand is in Islam, before it became a religion, it was a science. The science in the tale speaks about how there were beings or jinns that came from outside the world, that came into the world, that actually they performed genetic experiments until they were able to create humans. Now, this is backed up. It's funny. There's actually a Japanese anime based on that exact thing, right?
Oh, what's it called?
It's called The Guyver.
Okay.
Guyver, very old, goes back to the 80s. And they were known as the creators. They landed on the planet while the planet was just settling down from the molten lava, and trees and stuff started to sprout. So they took organisms from the water, and they would splice them. They would, inject some of their DNA to it. They will then mate it against itself and things like that until they got a human, somebody who would be strong enough to carry on the Guyver gene. And that was there was a war in outer space. And these particular race, these creators, they was getting they was getting smashed on. So they fled. A group of their scientists fled to the nearby galaxy. In this case, will be the Milky Way. Fled here, found the planet that had the most organisms on it, so that they can do more experiments. So we have the we have the Ethiopians that say this. We have the Indians that say this. This is how they explain how Krishna came to be. You have the Japanese that say this. You got the Mongolians that say it, and you got the Aztecs and the Incas all use this exact same story. That's the reason why they cannot, and I repeat, cannot find a missing link, because there isn't one.
I just have to wait for a minute, but you just mentioned Krishna. Can you go back to that?
Yeah, well, what part do you want me to just expound on Krishna in general?
Well, no, you just mentioned the word Krishna. Are you talking about from the Hindu religion?
Yeah, but Krishna goes beyond Hindu, though.
Oh, okay.
Man, we went left.
Yeah, I'm listening.
No, it's no. I want to be clear. This stuff is all tied together. People got to understand that science, religion, science are the facts, and religion is a belief of their interpretation of what science is.
So I'm trying to see the correlation between Allah and these aliens, that because you said the Quran was derived from that, right? Was derived from that specific science, correct?
Because the Quran is actually the religious part. Before the Quran was even written, you had the scrolls of Timbuktu that listed Islam as a science. It was later renamed
into a religion.
But the science part of it became known as alchemy.
Yeah, because I know in the Quran, it's things that were stated in the Quran that scientists would just now find out a couple years ago in regards to in regards to how the body is formed, which comes first, the bone or the flesh, which was in the Quran. Also about in the water, in the sea, about fishes and creatures that illuminate themselves and give off their own light, which was in the Quran, and scientists just figured out about 10 or 20 years ago. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I understand what you're saying.
Well, I mean, at the end of the, I mean, I don't know. You know how I kind of feel about religion. Like that's not it's a man-made concept. I just go back to the fact that Again, we've been here for thousands of years without any religions, without any books, you know what I mean, or any, what you call it, But I say that to say this again, right? And we can kind of bring it back to what we're talking about, the Sumerians. And again, like some people just looking, it may sound kind of spooky to you, or maybe outside the norm of what you're used to hearing. It is what it is. But I would say this though, it's more concrete evidence and things. Look, again, I'm gonna keep it simple. And the things that the Sumerians said and talked about, than what's in any of those books. The fact that, it was crazy when I believe it was in the late 1800s when they started to find those clay tablets. It was so far advanced of what they had back then. When these people talked about the rings of Saturn, they said that, Uranus and Neptune was greenish blue watery twins and stuff. The things that they said that we didn't find out until we sent one of those voyages past there. People call it Planet X, the Rubu. I don't know. If you just go on by, he said the gravitational pull. Pluto is not big enough to affect, Neptune's, to keep it in line. They say to keep it to, to affect this, the way that it wobbles and stuff. Pluto. That's why scientists say there has to be a larger body outside of that. I know people give Zachariah Stitchin a lot of, some people said he didn't, decode it right. He messed up on a few words.
He did.
Ooh, I don't know. I couldn't read it, so it is what it is. You say tomato, I say tomorrow. But I would say
no.
Tomorrow.
I'm just saying. Some people say tomato, I say tomorrow. I'm just saying. I don't know. I can't read cuneiform tablets. But I would say this though, to give some credence to what he said 2 years ago. The Iraqi Minister of Defense went on Al Jazeera TV. And so
Algiers TV.
Yeah, and so they discovered an 8,000-year-old airport. Literally.
Yes. And that's what I wanted to talk about actually.
Yeah,
Religions, like, to me, it always seemed to be something that was true in parts, but has been misinterpreted over time. And I'm someone who's not from a Christian background. I'm actually from a Hindu background.
Talk about it.
And my religion's all about, lots and lots of gods. Like, it's one of the biggest monotheistic religions out there. And, all my gods look like aliens. Like, I have Krishna, who's blue. I got Ganesh, who's literally has an L. And I gotta say, they always talk about big battles. And you said, Z, that, back when we were creating all that and there was, other beings, like, just around, they actually went to war with each other. And as you said, there was an airport that, predates anything we could have possibly built. So I'm almost curious if, like, all those religious battles they talk about in the Hindu religion is based off real battles they may have seen and, have been differently interpreted over time.
Okay, go post it. What do you think about that?
I think all of this is very interesting. I think in between what the Sumerians wrote and then and what who was that?
Sumerians
more. What's his name?
Dragon Moore. Yeah.
In between what he was saying, it all kind of, if you understand, it all kind of meld together because the Sumerians are saying the same thing that he was talking about in regards to an alien race coming here and creating us. And then if you look at the pyramids from, I forgot what I was watching, but they whenever you see a pyramid on the planet, that was supposed to have been a sign that planet was peaceful. You have pyramids on Mars. You have pyramids
on the moon.
On the moons and Saturn and things like that. Also, the pyramids was also, from my understanding, from what I was reading and watching, they was a form of transportation between planets and things like that. And it's just like I was saying on the other show in regards to the war. This intergalactic council that you all be seeing on Star Wars and things, that actually exists.
Mass Effect Andromeda.
Andromeda is the closest system to the Milky Way. Mm-hmm. I also was watching the video of a guy describing the Andromeda people and how we went to them for help when we did that. You remember when they were saying how man did a created this kind of what's the name with aliens. Okay, you give us your technology.
Oh, you talking about? Oh, you talking about when they signed the Grenada Act when he supposed to sign that with Eisenhower supposed to sign that treaty? Yeah.
From what I was reading and understanding that the Andromeda people was warning us about the aliens
that was gonna come after them.
That we was getting in bed with in regards to receiving their technology. I don't know if these the Greys or whatever, but they was warning us not to do it because they said that the alien race that we was getting in bed with was evil. Okay, we went and did it anyway, turned around and regretted it and went to the Andromeda people from help, and they say, hey, we can't do nothing because you signed a treaty with them people. We just can't go in there. We just can't come in there and help y'all out now. It's y'all didn't sign that treaty. The other guy was saying that how we've been traveling from like different planets and interstellar traveling for years. It's something that the technology that we have now, we always had. And that's again to this lady, this government official who said the technology we have is 1,000 years beyond what we have access to on a consumer level. So by the time things get to us, cell phones, computers, TVs, and things like that, it's already obsolete. It's already 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 years, 200 years old. I just see old pictures back in the 30s and 20s with people with cell phones. Tesla was sending messages across the water via video and audio.
Tesla was a beast
back then. You know what I'm saying? So that's all. But I'm gonna definitely look into what Dragon Ball. Hold
up, gotta pay the bills.
If he can send me some link on that. Send me some link on that.
Elite being 21. He said, I don't believe aliens built the pyramids. Talk to me. Actually, hold up. Actually, you know what I mean?
Matter of fact, you can jump in if they in the Discord. If anybody in the chat is in the Discord.
Wait, before we go to the Discord, hey, Blue, we got one more story. And then we can get to the Discord. Hey, you can ask some questions. Organism, was it? Jeez, organism.
Elite is sending you some money.
Blue must be drinking. Blue just woke
but
up.
yeah, we do have
organism. Yeah, you must have been. We don't went past that already. I'm talking about organism.
No, he sent another one.
Oh shit! My bad. I apologize, Blue. Black ancestors.
So yeah,
hold on. We gotta talk to him about.
We have another topic that we wanted to get to, and I don't know if anyone has heard of it, but organism 46B.
Put the link in.
I had no idea, first of all, when I heard about this, and I'm definitely the one that's on the panel that's kind of like learning about all this and kind of coming at it from a different point of view. While I'm open to learning about it all, I'm also still a little skeptical about some of these things. But this right here had me I guess a little convinced because I hadn't thought about the fact that we have so much sea, right? So much like unexplored water, bodies of water.
For sure.
And I hadn't thought about what could possibly be under there, right? Because there's like, again, as we said earlier, species develop different ways of like surviving, right? And so we don't know what has survived, right? Because we have different technology now than we did before. And what we use now to keep track of or to study animals, we may not have necessarily used, or we definitely did not have to use back in the day. And this thing kind of scared me. So what it is basically, well, for one, what it is that it's supposed to be sort of a sea creature, and what they found was that it's sort of related to an octopus, except that it has a lot more tentacles.
Yeah, like 18.
The way that it attacks is different because it can poison you with the same via the same like way that it squirts that an octopus would squirt out ink, right? Which is dangerous because it means that it can get to its prey a lot further away.
But now the trippy part is that what he turned into a human. That was the trippy part.
Yes.
Well, okay, but then that's the other thing. That another thing. Okay, but you have to give it. Don't just say that. You're gonna.
Oh, I'm just saying.
Let them build up.
All right, my bad.
My bad.
What
happened
you ruined it.
A bunch of scientists were exploring really deep in Antarctica. They had a research facility that went deep under this glacier that was there, and it took them years to finally drill a hole down, and they built an elevator that was able to bring them down to the water. And in there, that's where they found this sea creature. And the thing about it is that they didn't know that they found it at first because it had the ability, like other sea animals, to blend in with its surroundings. And what they realized was that what they thought was someone who was part of the team was actually the sea creature, organisms 46B. So what that means is that it basically blended itself to look like one of them, which, as Z put it, it made himself look like a human.
Yeah, kind of spooky.
Okay, so we get into Antarctica.
So we almost glanced over that. So Blue, can you talk about more like where this creature was found? It was below an Antarctic ice cap, I believe.
Yes, so it was below an ice cap, and it was okay. So it was in Antarctica, but the thing is that a Russian, the scientists and the research facility was owned or is owned by the Russians. So what we would want more information, but the problem is that apparently, now this part gets a little fishy, apparently they were able, while a few scientists did die trying to capture the sea creature, they were able to extract it from the water. But it turns out, conveniently enough, that the government decided to take it away, and basically they haven't released more information on it. Like, I don't know if there's any paper trail as to where it ended up or anything, but there are this part made me laugh, but there are rumors that Putin is going to try to weaponize the poison. I don't know. That part made me laugh because I'm kind of all right, guys, can we not get too far off? I
mean, it's a possibility. I'll say that, but we're not talking about a small ice cap here. I mean, Posta might know about this, but they're saying there may be almost a continent structure down there. Like, there's a lot of land that might be under that particular ice cap, and where they drilled into.
It's not as cold as people think it is either. Look, the one thing about that story she just said, if Russia got their hands on it, then every government on this earth got their hands on it, because the Antarctica is the only continent on this planet where every country on this planet have a treaty. The only continent that every country, every government on this planet have a treaty in regards to the research or anything that goes on in Antarctica. Now, we're going to have to switch here from a flat Earth to a hollow Earth theory.
Ooh.
In regards to when we're speaking about Antarctica. And one of the things that NASA do, if you go on Google Maps, if you look at either the North or the South Pole, you will always see them covered or blurred out. Even if you're looking at the space station, whenever it's traveling around the Earth, whenever it goes over, whenever it goes over towards the pole, it always blocks the camera out. It doesn't allow you to see. And if you do research on the hollow Earth, there is this theory that it's this hole that sits at the top of the Earth, and it's this theory that it's we have an Earth within an Earth kind of theory, meaning that also that inside the Earth the inner Earth has its own sun. They call it the Black Sun, I think, and a lot of people attribute that to the eclipse, things like that. But that's a whole nother thing. But we was talking about this last show, Z, when I brought up that general who was the first one who flew about 1,700 miles into the inner Earth, and he was saying he was flying across large mountains, vegetations. He got to a point where he's seen other civilization, where he's seen huge animals, dinosaur-like animals, and so that is attributed to a lot of people would think when the so-called asteroid hit Earth and wiped out the dinosaurs, that a lot of them probably migrated into the inner Earth. But that's a whole other show too, true as well. But in Antarctica itself, it's a whole civilization in regards to the water, in regards to what Blue is talking about. It's a whole nother ecosystem of sea life that's in Antarctica. You know, if you look at the it's still places on this planet that man has never set foot on. Even if you look at the Amazon forest and how big that is, and how many secret civilizations that exist in that forest, we still haven't traversed the whole Amazon forest. That forest is like super huge. It's still creatures and things in that forest that we have no knowledge or understanding of. So in terms of what Blue talked about, I can believe that. If you look at those ice glaciers and how thick they are and how big that wall is, and for every government to have a treaty when it comes to Antarctica, you fight over everything else on this planet. Everything else, you drop bombs and everything else on everything on this planet. But when it comes to Antarctica, all of y'all are peaceful and have a treaty. You're hiding something or you're protecting something. One or two.
I mean, they mentioned too in this video that the liquid containing, like the liquid underneath the ice cap, it contains fresh water, and also it's been isolated for at least 15 million years. Like,
exactly.
That's a long time for things to happen and things to evolve and things to grow.
And that's where the inner Earth come from, the hole. Because when you said about the fresh water, the water that's coming from is fresh. You know what I'm saying? Clean water, fresh water. Look into the inner Earth theory. They also saying that Antarctica can be the source. I know this is gonna tempt Z for the Garden of Eden as well. You know what I'm saying? They say if you look up the Garden of Eden, they said they found it. It could be located in Antarctica. The capital of the city that's supposed to be in the Earth is called Agartha. Look up on these things. I'm not here to change y'all minds. We're not here to change your mind. We're here to challenge them and to keep an open mind about the things that we're talking about.
I mean, there's even been, I forgot his name, but there was a mathematician who proposed a theory of the hollow Earth, and even talked about the black sun, like Postum mentioned earlier. And there's also other cases where I believe these people bought stones, and these stones actually had water inside them. But what was crazy about this water was it wasn't from our surface, like it wasn't from our oceans. They actually said this water would have come from a very inner part of the Earth. And there's even theories proposing that that's actually true, that there could be water in there.
Yeah, because if you look at what we've been taught from grammar school, we've been taught about the Earth, the mantle, the core, and all this stuff.
Exactly.
And we have never drilled nowhere deep enough to even know that stuff exists on our planet. And for us to be living on a planet that's spinning 1,000 miles per hour, that's traveling through the universe, that has a core that's temperature is either as hot or even hotter than the surface of the sun. I just can't believe that we on a planet where the core of our planet has a core that's hotter, that's either as hot or hotter than the temperature of the surface of the sun, and we're just walking around on top of it chilling. I can't believe.
Yeah, it's some crazy stuff, and we might walk into Z's territory, but I believe there's a Native American tribe who said they were like almost the protectors of this inner Earth. They used to actually go down there and everything, and there may be giants.
Oh yeah.
You know anything about that, Z?
I mean, yeah, not me, but throughout history again, you know what I mean? Shit, not a couple years ago, the Smithsonian got sued, for quote, covering up. We need to dedicate a whole show. That's another thing in this in entirety. But no, it's cool. Z about to eat an apple, you stupid. About like I said before, as inner Earth and giants. I'm sorry. There's that story in itself, whether the Hebrew text, the Sumerian text, all of them are talking about, giants, you know what I mean? Even dating back to, like, the Roman, all those Greek, the Titans, all these supposed to have been, men of great, stout, you know what I mean? They're found in India, if I'm not mistaken. They found a body about 22 feet tall, literally, you know what I mean? Now, again, you're going to have mainstream science, and again, that doesn't go, we're talking about, look at it like this, we got what's called the Darwinism theory, right? That doesn't go according in any of our evolution. That shit shouldn't be there, right? So we're talking about billions of dollars that have to, school books have to be rewritten. It's easy to just come out and just say, hey, this is what it is. But this is a business, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. So, you got people, motherfuckers that have whole curriculums. I'll give you an example. My wife, she sells curriculums, you know what I mean? Whatever school, say for $50,000, someone may buy her curriculum, you know what I mean? School, we talking about billions of dollars in education, you know what I mean? Things have to be rewritten, you know what I mean? So, like I said, a lot of things are kept from us, whether it's religiously, for whatever reason. The other thing I said boils down to, like, it's a business, you know what I mean? Shit, in Afghanistan, our troops came encounter with a giant about 15 feet tall. You can Google it, read it for yourself, you know what I mean? In one of those Bora Bora caves. During World War II, you know what I mean? I said, I'm going to tell you, the Catalan Islands, we didn't have the technology to fly, our planes couldn't fly. They had to stop and fuel up, stop and go, you know what I mean? And they landed on the island. And first Japan got there. It was trying to get the island from Japan. And Japan got ran off. You know what I mean? You got a couple of their soldiers, lieutenants, saying that they were being attacked and eaten by these giants. And when our troops got there, same thing. They were being attacked and being eaten by these giants. So I said to say this. There's a lot of things, I would say, that we don't know, or that's not being told to us, Some of the stuff does sound a little spooky, you know what I mean? If you never thought about it like that, like, damn, now they talking about giants. But what's next, Bigfoot? That was crazy. You say Bigfoot, believe it or not, like I said, the Sumerians wrote about him. They called him the wild man, you know what I mean? I guess it's just only to expand in your mind and just open up, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's more out there than what's right here, you know what I mean? And and that's why the governments or whatever the powers that be are able to, I guess, have the wool or the curtain pulled down. So most people, like I said, don't think outside the box, you know what I mean, or don't care to look what's behind the curtain, you know what I mean? And
Z said something earlier. He said, when we're born into this world, we have no knowledge or understanding of this world. So everything that we see visually and everything that we hear from the time that we enter and to the time that we're molded to we're older is what is given to us. So so when we come into this world, we're giving understanding of this world. So if you look at these shows, look at the movies, look at where are they getting these concepts of time and space? Where are these shows are coming from? Even if you look at Star Trek or Star Wars, these big ships, how these big ships work, quantum physics, the all this stuff, it's not something you just can create. You have to have knowledge of that, even to create a fictional or non-fictional story around it. You have to have knowledge of it. So if you look at these movies and you look at the technologies and the things that are presented from a visual standpoint, you have to ask yourself where are they getting these ideas from? If you look at the alien races that be in these movies, Star Trek, Star Wars, or any other movie that science fictional movie that's put out, where are they getting the concept of these aliens, these races, the storyline behind them? It just doesn't appear. This is something that you just don't think of. It has to have an origin. or something that was real that you can correlate that story to. Everything has an origin, even the stuff that is science fiction that we watch on TV and things like that.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying? In order for your imagination to be triggered, it has to see something to trigger it.
Hey, wait, hold on. We gotta get my man. Hey, my man. First of all, shout out to my man, Angry Guy 77. He back at it. Listen. If you want to come in here and say your piece, I'm willing over here. Join the Discord and come in. You can respectfully and we can talk. But he said here, what did he say? Wait, I want to find this comment. Wait, they be cutting up. He said, fun fact, Darwin admitted on his deathbed he never intended for evolution to disprove God. Then my man Kevin Moore said, these are the only way. He said, there's only one way, one religion, that's the truth. And that's the Lord and Savior. Here you go, Jesus Christ. You can't make it to heaven except through him. Read the word of God. He's real. He loves all of you. All right, my man. First of all, shout out to my brother Kevin Moore. Kevin Moore. Hey, Kevin Moore. First, are you by a computer? We can have a little fun tonight. Hey, Kevin Moore.
Let's go.
Click this link. Here, take join the Discord and come up here and let me know why Jesus Christ is the light at the end of your dark tunnel. I need to hear about this, man.
If anybody want to join the show, have any questions and want to join live, or even want to give their opinion on what we're talking about, join the Discord. You'll be moved into a room, and then we'll allow y'all to, say y'all piece one at a time.
You know what I mean? So I want I'm gonna put the link up for the Discord. Hold on, let me get the link for the Discord.
I already did.
All right, we going. Said no, I'm at work, just writing on my phone. All right, we catch you next week then, hey Kevin Moore. But listen, Kevin Moore, real talk, right? And I want to say this. I'm gonna keep it simple. I guess you're Christian. You're talking about the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Had you been born on Pluto, Mars, or Neptune by yourself, whatever, right, or whatever, by yourself, you wouldn't have any knowledge of God. You know what I mean? The fact that, and that's the way I look at it. I look at things as being very simple. And I'm not trying to disrespect your belief system, or, like I said, the root word of belief, like I said, to believe, the belief is to be unsure. And everything is faith-based. They said if I have the faith the size of a mustard seed, I can move a mountain, right? I keep it simple. If you're going to go by God, it's just all be knowing, knows everything. You see the future, past, present, you can do all that, right? To me, it makes no sense to sacrifice, let your only begotten son, Jesus, die or whatever, and for things still to turn out the way that they turned out here. You know what I mean? I take it one step further. You know what I mean? And not to bring race in it. I mean, people of color have called on Jesus or whatever, Yahshua or Jesus for hundreds of years, not to be raped, murdered, hung, and not one time were their prayers answered. Shit, I even take it one step. I'm quite sure that the Jews was calling on the Elohim. When Hitler was about to throw their ass in the oven, you know what I mean? Not what time were their prayers answered, you know what I mean? So I say that to say this, you know what I mean? And you say about Bigfoot and real, dinosaurs ain't real either, huh? Jesus Christ, my man, that shit is spooky. Let me ask you a question, because my uncle, he's one of those, one of those Bible toters, man. And here's the thing, what I don't understand, like when religion just gets a little crazy, they say to me, if it's not in the Bible, it's not true. You have fried chicken, right? You have an Xbox. You have YouTube. Ain't none of that shit in the Bible, but you have it, right? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't understand it. And even if, here's my thing, when you guys, I mean, even if Bigfoot and aliens are real, check it out. So all these videos of UFOs and all that stuff is fake, right? Fine. But does that disprove your God? You know what I mean? I'm just saying, or are you going to say?
I feel like, why is us talking about, creatures or, possible older things, like animal things, or like, I don't understand why this makes you bring up God. Like, okay.
Oh, wait, I got my man. First of all, I got my brother in the comment section, Spencer. Hey, Spencer. You down there talking? Hey, first of all, shout out to Spencer. I got your postcard too, Spencer. I want to tell you thank you, Spencer says, when I call on him and ask him questions, he answers me through other people. It's sometimes scary. That's what we doing here, Spence. Spence, that's what we doing here. Spence, come on, man. What else? Spence, you like looking spooky. Hold on, what else Spence say? Oh, listen, man. What else Spence say?
Racist idiot. What?
He has showed me too much. Who the God is real. Don't let the racist atheists fool you.
Who?
I don't know. Who's racist? Here they go.
We gotta stop that. We gotta stop that. We gotta stop this.
Listen, because we are bringing up things that may possibly be true, may possibly be not true. If you don't believe them, things like that. But like,
here we go again.
Stop insulting people just because you don't agree. Like, it happens
brainwash.
with every single, like, what's happening here?
This is brainwash at its finest. Religion. This is crazy, and it happens all the time. Anything that does not coincide with the Bible or with Jesus, it just get.
It's like blasphemy.
It's like
you're going to hell.
Blasphemy. And like, that's a trap.
Yeah,
that is a trap because
it's manipulation. That's what that is.
It prevents you. It prevents. It's like you.
It shuts you up. It silences you. That's what it does.
It's like you're a child, and you're like a child that's prevented from challenging your authority. You know what I'm saying? And anything other than what they're telling you, and that is not what we're put here for. That's not what I'm put here for. I'm put here. I'm gonna try to learn as much as I can, because what I've told was knowledge is power, not religion, not a Bible, but knowledge is power. And never you put yourself in a position where you're just focused on one thing when there's so much things that going on around you that kind of go against the teachers that's been given to you. You are blind to the fact.
Hey, yo, check it out, right? I just keep that thing simple. I mean, that was a beautiful. Give my brother Post around him. It was a beautiful speech there. And my man Post out there doing the Lord's work.
I just want to preach.
But I just keep it simple. At the end of the day, right? And I told you about the root word of belief, right? Let me ask you a good question. Let me ask you a question, Kevin Moore. So you believe that Mary was a virgin? That Jesus was born through immaculate conception? I'm waiting for your answer. We're gonna have a little fun. Just a little bit.
Oh, Z, don't do that to him, man. Don't.
I know. Listen.
You know where he going, boy.
But no, listen. I like to break it down slow on layman's terms, man. You know what I mean? You know, we're gonna have fun about it, man. You know, chat is. You said next gen chat is more entertaining than people's channels. You know what I mean? I keep it funky. Now, I never understood the Bible my own and looked foreign to me until I gave my life to Jesus Christ. This shit sounds crazy.
Jesus is God.
He will open your eyes to this crazy world that we live in. I'm telling you, he's real. Okay, fine. I get it. He's real.
The truck said Jesus is God, the Son, second part of the triunion God.
Yes, she was. But yes, she was. But hold up. Okay, yes, she was, but after she knew Joseph, okay, fine. Now, first of all, the truck driver gaming, and this is the problem with most people. And shout out to you first of all for joining the show. When people join up for sign up for these religions, they don't do the corpus and stuff behind these words and the original text that they come from. The word virgin, which derives as a Greek word, the word virgin doesn't mean they never had sex. It means that she wasn't married. It doesn't mean that she never had sex before. The word virgin comes from Greek. It doesn't mean that Mary, again, never had sex. It means that she was unwed. That's what I'm trying to talk about. When you people get these doctrines and rap, it's crazy to me, man. I don't know how you get a motherfucker to believe wholeheartedly. Because you read some of that shit in the Bible. You know what I mean? Slaves obey thy master. Heavily. This shit there kind of spooky, man. You know what I mean? And it preaches nothing. Listen. And if you're going to say that, again, if that God wrote the 10 Commandments, what the laws can bet no, so we're gonna keep it simple, though, right? But he needed man to write the Bible. If you're gonna say that Adam and Eve were the first people here, right? I'll keep it simple. Adam and Eve were the first people here. God created Adam and Eve, and then the first big sin was when Cain slain Abel, right? Then it says that Cain got put out where they were living at, whatever they were living at, and went on to marry a wife that was older than he. So where the hell did she come from, right? But we're gonna keep this goddamn thing simple. So again, Adam and Eve supposedly had a one-on-one relationship connection with God. They was walking with God, talking with God. Nor did they have a religion, nor did they have a Bible. And I'm gonna say this again. This is not my opinion. So I'd rather give people what I believe, because to have a belief is to be unsure. Man has been here on this earth for thousands of years without any religion, any Bible. You know what I mean? The fact that you call yourself a Christian, first of all, the teachings of Jesus. Jesus wasn't even a Christian. If this man even existed, Jesus was a Jew. And Jesus didn't tell a man to go on the land to change the religion. He didn't say that nowhere in his document, in his testament. But that's a man-made concept. There are 44 denominations of Christianity alone, my brother. 44. And you want somebody like me to son, y'all can't even get together in one accord. It's 44 denominations of Christianity. You know what I mean? You get out of the Catholic Church split. You know what I mean?
It's supposed to be one God.
Yeah, it's 44 denominations. That's what you know that man got his hand all through that, man. 7-Day Adventists, you got a Baptist, you got.
You don't need that many denominations, that many religions if it's only one God.
Bro, you got
how many
40
ways do you need to talk about this one?
Yeah, you got 44 denominations of Christianity alone. Like, this shit, wow. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I just, again, and I ain't trying to, you know, rain anybody's parade. But first, even the fact that you're calling them Jesus, there were no J's in Hebrew. You know what I mean?
Z, wait a minute, brother.
He could go on forever.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know.
He could go on forever.
Yeah.
We definitely have to wrap this up, though.
Yeah, for sure, man. But shout out to you. But listen, good Chuck. What's my man named Trucker? What's my man name? What's his guy name? Jesus Trucker. What the hell was his name?
Truck driving.
Yeah, and listen, you gotta join the Discord. I need you to come up here in one of these shows and tell me how Jesus saved your life. Hey Briggs, I need your cooking ass to come up here and let me know how he saved you from diabetes, high blood. My man said Briggs said Jesus pulled him through while he was in prison. Briggs, I need you here on the next show, man. We gotta talk about this shit here, man. But thank you for rocking out with us on the Expand Your Mind podcast. It's been fun. It's already 11 o'clock, late as hell. We get the hell up out of here, hour and a half. But if you enjoyed the show, like I said, I'm banned on Facebook and on Twitter. They're trying to shut me down. Hit the like button, share it out. I couldn't even share it in the videos, man. So what I hit stop the Discord, stop streaming. Let me see, stop.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining.
Yeah. And